expense. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
You know.
So for me, it's
small.
more. For me, the TikTok thing is, I personally think it should stay. You have a choice. You have an option. You have accountability. You can download it or not download it. Should it be allowed to have it in government offices or with U.S. military troops? That's an argument that I could see saying, hey, you're not allowed to have TikTok because it's a foreign entity app that allows tracking. But I'm going to then flip it on the other side and say, hey, guess what, guys? Facebook sells our data. Google just got caught. AT&T just sold had their data stolen without, apparently minimal security, which they got 75 million people, social security numbers, your addresses, your last billing cycles, everything. But AT&T says, don't worry, your credit cards, they weren't corrupted, which, if you believe them, you're all right. And then we had Google just get hit with a fine for selling over our information to Facebook as well. So, and they sold it to China. Sony Network also did the same thing. So, at the end of the day, to me, the TikTok ban and the fear over it is just it's ridiculous to me because we're not doing anything against these other organizations or these other companies, or we're not controlling it. And then again, it goes to the government. We've already seen the nefariousness that had existed on Twitter with the government, whether you're pro-Biden or pro-Democrat or pro-stupid or pro-this or pro-that. It doesn't really matter. The fact that the government would tip the scales or try to work through social media and claim that it's there, we should all be alarmed at. Especially when the fact is we went through this with Lincoln, St. Lincoln. He took control of newspapers and influenced them. That's tyrannical. That's bullshit. Lincoln should never have done it. He's an asshat for doing that. So calling out people who supersede and kind of push back on the American values of the Constitution, I have issues with. And I think Congress, for them, this is just a ploy to either break up TikTok, to get it into an American company's hands so our U.S. government can literally leverage it for power and utilize it, because it's beating Twitter. It's beating Facebook. It's the next big thing until the next new app comes along.
Okay, I thought it's being attached so that the bill will fail, so that the funding doesn't go to Ukraine and Israel. That's why I thought that it was added. But you think it's what, the opposite? Because what polls are saying on foreign policy, or if people do or don't want to give money to Ukraine, or attention to domestic, to be frank, because it's more important than the job. But what's going on with what I just feel like one is meant to push, either, I don't know what the game is here. That's all I'm trying to get at, and wanted to hear everyone's theories on that.
So technically, the way they're working at now, the argument inside the Republican Party is that things need to be done in regular order, which is the basic way. The other piece of this is people feel like they should be more precise. However, the folks complaining about regular order right now are folks that didn't bother to follow regular order earlier on. So it's kind of a little too, at least in my mind, a little too little, a little too late for bitching. And from what I understand, Johnson is trying to Speaker of the House, trying to stick Ukraine funding out on his own. There was an article I just ran across. The headline on it was something like Johnson makes impassioned speech for Ukraine aid as people don't agree with him. But they never, the folks in the Republican Party, particularly the folks on the right-hand side, want us to dissociate all those bills from each other and vote one at a time. That's called regular order. Again, the problem with regular order is nobody's bothered to follow it. And when these guys have had the chance, these people complaining now, have had the chance to call for regular order earlier on when it was shit they liked, they didn't bother to do it.
But Marshall, here's what I'm saying. Hold on, let me just give one caveat.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I'm saying is that if there were any bill any issue in the United States of America that wanted to mobilize the least activated segment of the electorate, right? The youngest segment, right? The youth, all right? Without spending a single dollar, it would be America bans TikTok. So I'm telling you, Thank you. Anyway, I'm sitting on my porch so I have to be fake and friendly to my cool neighbors. Anyway, so this would be the only bill in America that I feel that would mobilize the school of the youth to finally register to vote in this country just to make sure that TikTok isn't banned. Okay? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not going to pass. Like, it's ridiculous to think that it would, So, in my opinion, I could be wrong.
Sense. My brother's not allowed to have it on his phone because he works on a committee in the Senate, and so like there is something else about the TikTok app other than it allows the Chinese to collect the data. Apparently, the app can be used for more things. I'm not going to say what
Marshall, it's propaganda. A lot of that app is propaganda. I just read something the other day that had me going to Google to fact check. I thought Kris Jenner was arrested for something that happened at Diddy's house. It's propaganda, and that's what one of my concerns is. Now, again, as an American and looking at the 7,000 employees that they employ in the United States, and also being in the real estate business and in Los Angeles and understanding that they do have an office in Culver City and they do, pay quite well, and that has the ability to kind of destabilize the housing market in the respective area where these offices are located. So I don't think that they should just pull the plug, but I definitely think that they need to have a conversation of transferring ownership to the United States and creating a partition in any sort of information stream.
Adams, do you realize how the real world works? None of that is ever going to happen, and TikTok ain't going out of business, and Roy, your Republican conspiracy theory is bullshit.
I don't know how. Did you see that when you actually said that? Ilham, she ended up liking. She was like 100%, just because like somebody needed to say that. Like no matter what religion.
Yeah, like it is their right, the woman right to choose what they want. But let's face it, a woman that goes outside, people will look at it like, especially most men, they will look at it at her like still like she's not a human being that have emotions, have the human thing. They will think that she has a really big butt, like this whole thing is not it. It's not it. Like even like why do we have to wear hijab if you are a woman? Why do you have to wear a hijab? If we cannot solve the real problem, which is over sexualizing of women.
Jeez, bro. My wife's like, he's preaching. She didn't say nothing, but she just like, her eyes were like, yep.
May God bless you both and give you really good quality well-being and good life.
But legit, what do you think about just the idea that the human individual should have a type of unimpeded liberty? I mean, I'm in a conservative state in America, one of the most, right, which is Utah, and yet they still have a law that says women can go around with their tits out. It's a free the nipple thing. Now most women never do it. They're self-constrained, but to the extent that they're legally able to do it, I'm just curious, because it appears that Muslims are still working on standardized edicts and then justifying it after the fact. Like, well, we throw a hijab on a woman because it humanizes her. But in doing so, it restricts her also, or it de-objectifies her. But it also is, you're saying, oh, well, they have emotions there and so forth. So do you not find it ironic, though, that the justification for...
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
go ahead.
I got you. I want to ask you a question. Do kids 7 years old in your country go to a liquor store and buy alcohol?
If I can get them in there, yeah, you bet they do. No, they don't.
And smoke cigarettes?
It depends
Buy
on where you're from.
liquors and like smoke cigarettes and do pornography. What do you think?
Well, just get to the part where an adult woman is a child, and then we'll continue.
If there is a child, why do you restrict him? Like you say that we restrict women, you restrict children.
Majid, what is your point, though?
My point is that there must be some restrictions to save morality.
Yeah, but morality doesn't come from restrictions. It comes within your own internal decision making.
Okay, then why prohibiting children from going to a liquor store?
For obvious fucking reasons. It's a facetious question, and it's obvious why you don't ask a fucking child to go to a liquor store. What the fuck kind of question is it? Are you really that dense?
Well, no, I think he's looking for a specific answer. I mean, because I do think restrictions can be, you inherit restrictions from the culture before you were born, and then you inherit them based on the legal structure that you're concurrently living in, and then you have your own personal moral restrictions. And I do think morality is a type of restriction, generally, as opposed to a liberalism or a freedom too.
See, you both are Meshuggah. You've got it backwards. That's the truth of the earth.
Yeah, but Majid, do you mean to say, like, you send a child to get something that you want from the store? Is that the idea?
It's a hypothetical, but you're still not getting to your point, Majid.
No, there is a legal restriction. Like you say that there is freedom that someone can walk naked, for example. But a child cannot go to a liquor store and buy a drink because you know what is the best for him better than him. If you don't protect people against
whiskey, is that?
Majid, you're conflating two separate things, and your point, you have no point. I gotta push back and say, let's just move the conversation ahead and stop repeating yourself so we can just move this convo on. We don't have time to continue to listen to the same hypothetical over and over again, Majid.
Yeah.
Well,
okay,
my point to Majid was like in the States, or whatever the inherited Judeo legal structure is, right, compared to Islam in the Middle East. The idea of woman's liberation also, I guess that's only 100 years old, roughly, 150 max for states. But what I'm saying is we grant adults, humans at a legal, 21, 18, we grant them a full liberty at that point. Not full liberty, like you still have to wear clothes in public, generally, unless it's specific. So there are certain restrictions, but beyond the most minimal of common restrictions, we distribute possibility and liberty despite your gender, your genitals, your sex. And so I'm just kind of, it's just kind of a cultural clash.
Okay, let's move to the drugs.
That's more curious.
Are drugs Are drugs legal, like opium, in your country?
Yes, you can go to a psychiatrist and you can
Everyone
get.
can take it without
Majid,
getting arrested?
Majid, stop it with your questions and let me reset the room and go back to the title since Goku up there, our humble Kyle, is sleeping. Sorry, Majid, your questions are no longer valid. I want to go to the title, which is Convince Me God Exists and No Replays. So, our good friend Donald here, who is a persistent retard in creating a room called Convince Me God Exists, he's an atheist. I see a lot of high value information and God conscious materials, and I just want to say I support God and those who, support God, or I support those that support wisdom. So, my point is if you are an atheist and you're in this room right now, and, tell me about your anger, management, tell me about your IQ, tell me about your EQ. And from an atheistic perspective, I mean, what gaslights you? Because I believe that God is within, and the true journey is always to sit there and meditate and go within, and basically stop thinking and your problems. Or the more you think, the more you speak, the further from truth you get. So my point is, look at the title of the room: "Convince Me God Exists." If there's any theists here who want to try to convince Kyle, aka Goku, who becomes a Super Saiyan, and his real form is a monkey. Now, the monkey is the reference to Thoth, which is Hermes Thoth Trismegistus, which is the ancient Egyptian. Goku kicked me. Goku kicked me. Goku kicked me. Thanks, Goku. I guess we'll just have to. I was actually looking at the Dragon Ball Z video game at the mall.
غسول خانه کیا ہے? Can you translate that movie, the poem? He just left the room, man. You want me to translate it? Are you sure? You want me to give it to you in Farsi or? You can speak Farsi. No, but I can give it to you in Farsi. No, in English. Oh, wait, actually, just out of curiosity, so Nadeem, like, I invited you earlier because I was curious to know, like, what were you reading throughout?
There will never be a sentiment. Waiter.
Rebainai shalai laim, rebainai shalai laim, rebainai shalai laim, rebainai shalai laim. Rebainai shalai laim, rebainai shalai.
Be a slave, Rodrigo. Please tell him to stop.
Cave Halik Habibi, Cave Halik Habibi, Assalamu alaikum. Malaikum assalam. You're all haram. You're all haram. I can tell. Who runs the world? Who runs the world? Hello?
They use cartoons, right? They use cartoons, TV, and drugs, and they were somehow able to put all that together. They studied all that, and they were able to. The goal of MK Ultra, what some of the doctors said, was to make someone. Well, some of the CIA statements said was to make someone do something against their will.
Did Europe have about a program that stopped working in 1957?
But it doesn't matter because it's the program is out in the public. It's being used.
No, you're missing my point.
Like, no, but you understand.
The point on about the government.
Hold on, Marshall. The point of it was to make someone do something against their will, right? So you have to connect that. You have to actually use your brain when you hear certain things like this.
Using
Connect
my
that.
brain.
Marshall, you've allowed either you work for them or you've allowed them to use.
No, dude,
you've
I
allowed
just
them to
studied
use
history and know the way
No, you
things
don't.
work.
No,
Again,
you-
like
you
I
don't.
asked you how to
Oh my god.
Stop.
Let him make his point and then we can like debate it.
So they use. So I'm saying the law with in 1946 that came out and is basically stating that the movies are a propaganda tool. MK Ultra studying the fact that if you use electroshock therapy, movies and TV shows, you can literally manipulate a person to do whatever you want. Is what they say. Essentially is what they're saying. They're putting out.
The declassified portions of that, it tells you that MK Ultra was a failure.
Yeah, I would say that too, Marshall. I would say that too.
But like,
Do you know how many lawsuits are exploding against them?
Stopped working in the mid to late 50s.
Marshall, wait. What was the greater point to that? To tell us about MK Ultra and proving it's real? To say that like everybody's getting manipulated now or something?
Yes, that's the whole. That's what I was saying. We're all
Okay,
getting manipulated.
Wait. If you read the MK Ultra studies and you read the experiments, the main thing that they needed in order to make that possible, the main thing they needed in order to manipulate people's brains and make them do what they wanted to do, you know what it was? Fucking drugs.
You turned to LSD. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And hold on. Wait. We're a drug-induced society. First of all, don't think.
Yes, it's not LSD though, bro.
But it doesn't matter. That's just. It's just some psychoactive. It doesn't mean that they can't. It doesn't still work with like marijuana or alcohol or something like that.
It does mean that. It absolutely
does not mean that. You don't know that. It just they just need something to.
Because we know the chemical constructions of LSD. We know the chemical
I
constructions of
understand, but they were doing it in a short period of time. You know how like they weren't doing it within years. It was quick. They were doing it quick.
Dude,
The
program existed until 1957 or 8. It started after World War II.
You can't think outside the box. Just be quiet.
No,
you don't have that ability. Just be quiet.
It's there for a short period of time. It's there 10 years. That's not a short.
I get it. You're okay. You're right.
It's just I don't like you're making these grand conclusions, but there's just no evidence of it. So you're saying that like, okay, instead of using LSD, they drugged up the population with pharmaceuticals and marijuana, which is the same effect as LSD on a long-term basis, and therefore they manipulated their brains. Like I don't think you get it.
Exactly.
I understand what you're saying. But I don't think that you get that people are just easily manipulated without these things.
I didn't say that. Yeah, you're right. But
right. So like
helps the process along.
It doesn't need to help the process along, is what I'm saying. This is like when people used to say shit like, "Oh, if you take the COVID vaccine, they put a tracking chip inside of you so they can track everywhere you go." Why the fuck would you need that when everybody carries a goddamn cell phone or a credit card or an ID card? You could just simply place it in there and that was that, and they've already probably done that a million times.
Max, nobody ever said that. Do other people get a word in this room, or do you guys just, ramble aimlessly forever?
I mean, when it's admin, we tend to ignore you.
Oh, that's
Got it. Oh, well, I've been listening. You guys have said such interesting information so far.
Wait up, Edmund. Let me ask you a question. What input do you have to put in this?
Subject like 5 times since then.
I mean, I can address the title, or I can continue on. Ooh, removed. Such interesting information.
No, that shit won. No, that shit won. That shit won. It won.
I was about to say, I'll do a recount.
No, it won. It won.
Hello? Please come home now.
Danger.
I got beans and bologna.
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright, let me know what you need.
Hello?
Conversation, I just wanted to get
I will. I got you, man.
Alright.
Please come home now. I got beans and bologna.
Can y'all remove him mods?
Hello? Hello?
Can you remove this young lady off my stage, please?
I got beans and bologna.
Guys, please.
Hello? Please come home now. I got beans and bologna.
وناس شرفاء هذوما يعني اللي
Hello?
مش نتدخل في الحقوق. اسكت.
Please come home now. I got beans and bologna. Hello? Hello? Walalu, walalu, walalu. كيف حالك حبيبي؟ السلام عليكم. عليكم السلام. Hello, hello, hello. Free Palestine from Hamas. Free Palestine from Hamas. Free Palestine from Hamas. Free Palestine from Hamas. ربنا يشليلهم.
الله يلعن اللي مقعدك هنا.
اكتب قليل أستاذ أنا بعرف شوي عربي حبيبي. وين ما حدا دار حجاز. عفوا. شكرا حبيبي.
هذا المضي من جابه عندنا هذا الأحوال.
Please come home now. I got beans and bologna.
Yeah, there was a movie called Streets of Fire.
Hello?
A gang movie.
Hello, Zena.
Please come home now. I got beans and bologna.
Goes and go. Goes and go.
Please come home now. I got beans and bologna.
Stop before you get signed to a record label. Stop.
There are no further transgressions on
Hello? Please come home now. I got beans and bologna. It is so ridiculous. But it works. It totally breaks people from their hypnosis. Please come home now. I got beans and bologna. Please come home now. I got beans and bologna.
Who said that?
Some idiot. Oh, sorry.
Who the fuck said that? That's probably the funniest impersonation I've ever done. I think Not That Bang Gang is also a good one. Welcome to Please Come Home Now. I think you're going to like this room. If you're listening to the replay, I hope you enjoy it. It should be pretty funny. Welcome.
What the fuck?
Welcome, welcome, welcome home. No Diddy. I need to pee. Look at this guy's PTR. That's beautiful. He's Polish for sure. That guy's Polish, no doubt. Okay, please come home now. This is Zen. Bueno Shalom. Here we go. Let's start the show. Welcome home. Oh, bye. Welcome back and welcome home now. Please come home. You're in Jefferson Park News, the house. Oh, what's the matter, O'Brien? What's got you feeling down? Why are you feeling so sad? Why aren't you meditating and going within? Hello? 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 Hyla? Taylor? Please come home now. Hello? 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 Welcome back to Please Come Home Now. Please come home now. We got beans and bologna. Hello? Welcome to Jefferson Park News with your good friend Zen. Please come home now. We got beans and bologna. Hello? Hello? Please come home. Please come home now. Please come home now. Welcome to your afternoon meditation. Your afternoon hypnosis programming compliments of Zen. It's Zen down now. Welcome. Please come home now. Welcome back to Jefferson Park News, where we want you to please come home now. Please come home now. Your father smells suck. Hello? 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 Hi, Taylor. Welcome. Please come home now. Death hippie!
Yo!
You're still alive.
Of course I am. I'm the raid boss now, apparently. I really should go back to being a raid leader.
Well, welcome to Clown Anger Management 101 in the Clown Podcast. And Jefferson Park News, please come home now. We're listening to an anger management CD.
Anger management.
Please come home now. I got beans and bologna.
Ridiculous.
Please come home now. I got beans and bologna.
You been doing well?
Yes, but I have real work to do in my other room, so I'm trying to let all this go and get as much of it as I can before I have to go do real work, I suppose, and like really, really get real work done.
Okay. Yeah, I'm working on stuff too.
I did some really cool artwork yesterday, though.
Did you?
Pretty happy with it. Yeah.
What does it look like? Can you PTR it?
Yeah, I did. Look at my PTR.
Ooh.
The frame came out so nice, and it's like so cheap. You know, such the most basic materials. But what's cool about it is it's a black canvas with a white pen. So you're painting in negative space, which is kind of cool.
Oh, I got a bunch of those with metallic paint of different colors. They look awesome.
Yeah, that's true. I could try to do that too, but I kind of wanted to paint these, but I think I'm just gonna leave them black and white because once you frame them, it's like if I ever sell them, they'll be sold as a set anyways. You know.
I have a negative space one that I did a long time ago, like over 20 years ago. I don't know if I can find it.
I love the art business. Like, I think there's so many ways to market your art business. Like, I could just create one called Black and White Art. Where all we do is produce black canvas with white artwork. It's because it's the easiest way to do art. You're just drawing on a blackboard. So it's kind of like cheating. It's still painting, but it's like cheating because it's not really painting. You're using a pen, so it's like doodling. It's kind of like cheating, but it's still technically paint on a canvas.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Used to make my own canvases. And I was in the AP art and summer's art program back in the day.
I'm a good copier. I can copy voices and I can copy anything I see onto paper. I used to build websites by just drawing them and then having a web designer, build the website based off of my drawings.
I didn't really. I like if something needs to be done. Usually people just give the work to me, especially if it's a tech support or creating something or fixing something or figuring out how something works. And I just got it.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Why do you? I'll take that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm like, let's go.
What? What are you doing? I know who this is. What are you doing? I recognize your voice. You having a good day?
I'm excited.
You're excited? Or sad? Wait, what? Somebody put your father still. Welcome, welcome. Yo.
It's all about the birds.
Birds? I do hear the
I like the
birds.
idea of the birds. I mean, but it's like if you know how to love someone.
Knowing how to love someone. Do you know how to love someone? I do need you.
I love the cookie.
Someone like you. Oh. Dude, I'm excited about killing people like this. I like someone like you. Somebody like you.
Palestinians.
Okay.
What are you cooking, chapati?
What am I cooking? I actually made parathas. I don't even.
She's making chapatis.
I swear, change your name. I do not want to call you chapati.
I normally don't like, I don't make rotis. It's funny. I don't even make chapati. घर में chapati बनाती भी नहीं हूँ. I don't even make rotis. और नाम chapati रखा. Like, where'd you get all these pictures from these people?
This one I just screenshot from a video.
Oh.
It was a video of Rishi Sunak, like AI.
No, not Rishi. Like all, like Randy and Dr. Adam.
Oh, it's just that my camera roll's full of these. Well, not full of it, but I've got all these pictures. Like when I see their face reveal, I'm like, yep, screenshot. Use that feature use.
دلم برای خیلی تنگ شده Free Palestine.
This guy is crazy. I was in his reviews doing some hypnosis. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, I remember this guy tries his failed attempts at hypnotizing.
Hey, yo, Obey, if you're not removing him, I don't know why I should still be talking to you. Obey.
Have some fun.
Do you support Palestine? Oh, I'm gonna remove you.
Oh,
Yes, absolutely, I do. Don't believe Ludwig. He's trying to hypnotize you. I support Palestine. I free Palestine myself if I can.
he's a Zayo, bro. Kick him. And he's streaming your room, so.
Ludwig thinks that is like the greatest thing he can contribute to the room is like removing me. That's very funny. I think it's actually very flattering in my opinion. I am flattered. Shukran, Habibi.
He's a man of chaos. Just remove him, Obey.
Then, do you want to remove yourself or I'm gonna remove you? Which one?
No, I just want you, when you remove me, I just want you to remember that
To my voice. Remove yourself.
there will be a vacuum when I leave, and you guys will realize just how pathetic you really are.
My voice. You'll be hypnotizing and remove yourself from this room then.
You will see
Are
what
you gonna
happens.
remove yourself or am I gonna remove you?
No, remove me, and then you will regret it because you'll say, "Oh, he was right. I have anger management problems. Why do I listen to Ludwig? This is pathetic."
Yeah, he's funny. He sounds harmless.
He's a filthy pro-Israeli. That's what he is.
Are you a
I see.
Do you hear the anger in Ludwig's voice and how he tries to gossip about me as an individual?
Are you gonna remove him, or are you just gonna allow him to like stay here and play this circle that he always does?
I just want to ask you a few questions. What was the hypnosis about?
Bro, you want me
He
to
wants to
leave?
turn everyone into a Zionist. This
But he
is.
is, though.
No, Ludwig stays. Just goes and please go.
Let's listen to what hypnosis is.
I want to hear his reasoning. Come on.
Can you make Chapati a Zionist? That's what I want.
Yeah, people. Try.
Well, I can only say that what Ludwig is saying is absolutely wrong, and that he himself is a very sad man who cannot focus on himself and his own shortcomings, but has to accuse me of all kinds of horrible things.
Don't deviate. Don't deviate.
Make Chapati.
Yeah, don't deviate.
Where are you from, Zen?
I was born inside Uranus.
Where?
Just kick him.
What did he say?
I was born inside Ludwig's anus. I was born inside Ludwig's anus.
Chapati remove kar dein.
I'm trying to hold
Hello?
it.
Hello? Please come home now. Nasty little Indian little bitch.
Did they talk about the law that he passed that doesn't allow prisoners, women that's in prison to be chained to the bed if they're having kids and shit, like during childbirth?
No, he didn't talk about that yet. He just talked about the funding for HBCUs.
No, I just wanted to quickly add also, because I remember when it came out, I actually took notice, but that Sexy Red song between the other girl, whatever, she goes something about Biden. Like, she said something about Biden in, like, the last part of that song. Something about something president, I want to fuck on the president or something.
But see, that's not a derogatory negative.
It's not derogatory, but the thing is, oh, I know. The thing is, for what's his name, Trump, it was very much derogatory, etc. But then you have them highlighting Biden in times like this. Like that really made no sense whatsoever. So
No, it makes perfect sense. If his ratings are down and it's bad.
Oh, in that case, right.
Yeah, you gotta be bad.
I don't know where you're coming from, exactly. Yeah, that does make sense.
At this point, if he's a marketing genius, he's a marketing genius, and you can't outmarket him, why are you even here?
But I don't think they stoop that low. Is basically just right.
For his son to go on an interview with academics, knowing that academics has the biggest platform for our culture that watches it, that shit was smart as fuck, bro.
Come on now,
like that's the best way to get that fucking message out.
You remember when Bill Clinton played the saxophone on he played saxophone on Arsenio or some damn shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew that. I'm like 20, whatever the fuck. I'm hella young. I'm like, this is pandering. This is pandering as fuck.
I almost
this nigga's playing a fucking saxophone. Like, are you kidding me? So now we all supposed to just black vote you in and shit. I was an asshole when I was younger. I was like, what the fuck is this? This motherfucker playing saxophone? Okay, I'm fooled. Oh, this Obama nigga? Oh, so he think he just talks slick and shit, and that's how we just gonna fucking listen? This nigga just a good orator. Bush, why the fuck are you so stupid? Trump, to me, quit fumbling over your words, my nigga. You don't make me believe in you. I get it that you can win the popularity vote and then make motherfuckers, like, consider what they're thinking, but why you gotta be so obvious? Like, you sound like you'll get everybody busted. But you get niggas busted. He throwing niggas off his team, hiring niggas. Like, I don't know the background, but if it's smoke, if I see smoke, it's, it's probably some fire there. I'm not gonna say my mind is open and then don't see smoke and expect fire. But I'm keeping an open mind because I don't like the system. So, it ain't nothing to ask me. I'm just watching.
Trump is the only president that went and stood in front of all the fucking elitists and told them that he wasn't going for the bullshit that they had at play at the World Economic Forum. He was the only motherfucker that stood up and said, "Nah, we ain't doing that. Not to the American people."
He kind of did also say fuck the vaccine. To see how it goes.
He said fuck it. Yeah.
That's all I'm just saying, though, dog. Like, I don't have to fucking go with narratives. I just use my head. Like, okay, so what happened? What do I like? Don't like that. I don't give a fuck what nobody else say. I don't give a fuck what you say. If that nigga say some shit that sounds stupid, it's stupid to me. It sounds like a fucking moron. He sounds like a moron. That doesn't mean he can't do something good, but he still might sound like a fucking moron to me.
I wonder if Trump even was like in over his head. Like, yes, he was always like in the spotlight a little bit, had money in some of those circles. Maybe he knew something that was going on, or like it might his, I don't know. But then when he was president, I wonder if that's when he was like, oh, this is like, there's way much more. I wonder if even he was surprised. He'd already been in like some of the circle, like whatever. But I wonder like that last veil had been lifted once you're president. You have a different like access. And I wonder if that's when he was like, oh no, this is crazy. I gotta do something. I wonder that turning point or what that was like. Or if it was even a surprise.
I'm very interested in how all this turns out because, the opposite is Biden fucking super predator, black super terminator that ended families in our fucking, took beautiful vibrations off this fucking earth, and super cop who don't even know when the fuck Tupac shit was. Like, what the fuck? Making up coolness that she doesn't have.
So this is what I don't understand. like we'll sit in a room and talk about because Demetrius made a statement yesterday talking about that everything is not about money. People want to do things for the rest of the people. As we were talking about that guy who got killed, and Trump is the president that goes more so with a lot of the things that we say, like fighting against the fucking against the pedophile ring and making laws to put a unit on that and all type of shit that we talk about. But yet you still have this sentiment that he ain't shit when he's fighting for everything that you're speaking of. I'm confused on how people still mad at this man.
I don't be mad at people who don't have the energy, but I would say that he's exposing a lot in the system. I mean, and I would say anytime I think there's another way to do it, it's because I would have did it a different way. But I'm not getting a check, so I would have did different shit on my football team too. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm just watching. I mean, this is what I think is unfair. I don't think if he's using the laws of America to get around doing things that are morally gray, so what? It's a fucking law. Change the fucking law, or you know what I'm saying? Trying to change it while he's trying to run, though, makes you look like you're trying to change a dope deal in the middle of the deal, and a nigga gonna blow your top off. So what you really have to do is look at what's really happening in the system. They're trying to keep a man from being able to present his ideas, even though he's already been our president at one point. So if you keep him from being able to run, then you're going to create a martyr. You're going to create a bigger problem not letting him run. And if he runs, he's going to win.
Speaking of changing laws, his son also brought up the fact that it was a little earlier, but his whole case in New York and how they're trying to come after him, that they literally changed laws and maneuvered things just so they can kind of like charge him and the way that they're trying to do it. So they've been going out of their way so much to try to do all this stuff. And if even only for that reason, I would think, wow, if they're going after someone so hard, what does he know? Why are they going so hard for this person not to? You know what I mean? That's another reason, like, I'm just going by logic. Let's say I didn't care for him or something like that. It's like, well, why are y'all trying to stop him so much? Simple. Well, what's the point of that? It makes you look even more suspicious.
It definitely does. And to answer Ink question, that's like right now, like how people feel about Hitler, right? But then the conspiracy came out like, all right, well, everybody hates Hitler, but what if I told you that a lot of the shit he was doing, he did it for black people? And then niggas would be like, what you mean? And then you start running certain things down, and it's still like, even if it's shit we could look up and shit that makes sense, niggas gonna still hate him because they programmed to hate Hitler. That's the same way with Trump. Like, no matter what he did, no matter what laws he put through, no matter what anything, niggas gonna always hate Trump because they've been programmed to hate him. So like you said, during the 90s, the nigga was cool. He was in all the rap songs. He was in all the hoods over New Jersey. I remember this nigga came to Patterson, like, when I was a little-ass kid. I didn't know who the fuck he was, but it's like, why y'all making a big deal over this white motherfucker? Like, who is this? You know what I mean? So he was very active over here, and it's like, once he started running for politics, like his son said in the beginning, it was a joke. Everything was hee-hee and ha-ha. Then shit started getting serious, and I was like, oh, fuck. We got to get rid of this nigga because he's not playing by our rules. So we got to make sure he doesn't, disrupt the status quo. And then here we are now. Everything they try to pin on him, years later, we've seen it's all a lie. And we see how algorithms get hacked. We've seen how articles came out about social media and how, they were the ones that were really, the ones propagandizing a lot of shit. And it's just like, we here now. Like, no matter what happens, no matter what he says, a majority of the country hates him, doesn't know why they hate him, and there's no reversing that. So, the sentiment,
what's crazy is
they're nothing wrong yet.
What's crazy is how much they pull the race card out against Trump when they have to speculate everything races that they say he kind of said this or he meant that, but you got Biden on record saying this shit in Congress at a Congress meeting, and people act like the shit don't even fucking exist. It's like, bro, you got a whole video though.
Well, even before Congress, when he was passing those laws, him and Kamala have literally demolished at least 3 generations of people that look like me for fun.
Listen, I said this before. All I'm saying, pick your side. But I'm telling you, it's stopping that man from, if we make it to the presidential debates, Trump versus Biden, Trump gonna flame that man.
Bro, there will be no debate. And I think I could go on record fucking April 18th telling you niggas it's gonna be no debate. We either gonna be at war, it's gonna be aliens, something's gonna happen. But there's no way in hell the Democratic Party is gonna let Donald Trump and Joe Biden have a debate on fucking national TV. That shit is not happening.
Hey, once you started smoking crack, Joe. You saw it smoking crack, Joe.
Or whatever they gave him. The other way.
Yeah, that's what he was gonna walk on stage while you walking on
that's
stage.
a fact.
Joe.
Hey, Dollar, why you saying that? Just keep listening to the interview. Why you saying that?
I gotta agree with Chop, man. Cause real talk, they've been doing a lot of shady shit to try to like strong arm Trump, man. And the one person I cannot wait when Trump get into office that they're gonna expose is on the New York side, Letitia James. Like she's really fucked up. Her.
Not too much on Letitia. Not too much on Letitia James.
Nah, you mean
She's done so much for Staten Island. I'm not gonna let you slander that black woman. There's so many other people you could attack. Letitia James is not her.
Letitia James, all the motherfuckers going down. They put the back foot, the forefront to go after Trump.
I'm gonna tell you straight up.
They about to go.
I don't know if y'all remember the lady that was the police commissioner prior to this Dominican guy. Yo, they did her dirty because she was actually wanting to do what NYPD should have been doing. You see, they got rid of her because she wasn't down with that status quo. I'm telling you, a lot of them are gonna get exposed, yo. They really foul, man. They grimy.
Don't you think it exposes the entire system, though?
I was just about to say they're politicians. Ain't that part of the job requirement? Right, but that's what was supposed to happen during COVID. Like when everybody was outside talking about, we can't breathe, you're supposed to go outside and say, we not voting. This don't make sense. Y'all not treating us right.
I have a question. Also, didn't like the mayor and like the head of the police, whatever, something, get ushered in as Masons recently as well too? In New York?
What'd you say, Legacy? One more time.
I said, like, didn't like the mayor and like the head of the police something get ushered in as like Freemasons as well recently?
Yeah, he did. What about that? Yes, he did. Oh man,
Yeah, I remember reading about this because it was just really interesting.
Eric is a Mason.
Yeah, like around the like.
Online.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Eric Adams, y'all talking about the one with the Fendi scarf and the earring that be at the party with Stajo?
You made that too easy.
No, wait, I'm the first time hearing about that. I didn't see that. I didn't know. Is this like you saying the ceremony or something like that? Is that different than like what usually happens?
No, it's the fact that they even have it so public, right? And these are, it's like, in a sense, it felt like they were kind of like solidifying them, like, hey, join us, and then what's it called? Giving them, the honors of like being part of the Freemason.
Nah, so I was at the ceremony, and he didn't get inducted. He was just there celebrating somebody else. So everybody got the story fucked up, but it wasn't him. It wasn't his turn.
Who?
Wait, hold on. You was at the ceremony.
No, but who are you talking about? Like, who didn't get inducted?
Eric Adams.
Okay.
Yeah, Bobby and Mason too. You niggas ain't know that?
Oh my God. No wonder he beat the
Just the way Eric Adams talking about, he talk about, New York could do anything here. You could get beat up. You could get shot. You could light it. You could take your kids to school. If not, we come to get you. I'm going to send a drone at you. Eric Adams says anything. He can't be those people. His mouth is too crazy.
You said what now?
Yeah, just look at the chat. Like, that's insane.
Where's all the Trump haters? Like where do all the Trump hate people go? Like where are those people at?
People are followers.
A Trump hater. I'm not a Trump hater, but I will say that in listening to his son, you could tell in his tone that what was that? That he was genuinely speaking from what the fuck he believed. So
So I sent Q something yesterday where this black lady that Trump helped out spoke, and she made a powerful speech. And she said that when she went into this whole situation with meeting him and stuff like that, she thought she was about to meet this racist dude who don't like black people and all this extra shit. She said that shit was totally different. Then she sat down, gave her time, and actually put something into play once she told him her story and put a bill behind it. And she said she could have never thought that, based on what the TV was telling her, that this man in real life acts this way. You feel what I'm saying? Like he's a cordial human being. And she was like, I got played by the news and the media, as most of us did, but I'm here to tell y'all, as a person who had a personal interaction with this man, that I'm voting for Trump. I said, shit, the shit sounds so good. I said, shit, he didn't make that a part of his fucking campaign.
So you never had somebody lie straight in your face and say, like, you know what, I'm a liar. Like, I've never had somebody do that shit. So what are you expecting? Like,
I have a question. So the person I put into the chat there, is that not the mayor of New York, or is that someone else?
Why are you saying the person? That's me.
Huh?
You said the person. That's me.
No, I put into the chat.
That's him.
Okay, yeah. So what do you mean by, like, contrary to what people believe and all that? I was at the ceremony, blah blah blah. What's that about? Huh?
Why is that?
The individual that said, I don't know who that was, but like they're like how contrary to what people believe.
No.
Myself for a second. I was like, wait, what? I'm not crazy. I know what I read, and I read what I know.
This wasn't a mayor. No, this is a lady who got chained to her bed as she was having a baby because she was in jail.
No, I wasn't talking about that. I'm talking about what I said before to her. Like, Quantum, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, Bobby came out.
Okay, I guess not. No, I'm talking about before, because like I kind of spaced up.
Yeah, right after you said that, then Bobby came up and said, no, it's not true. It was someone else's ceremony, something.
And then he said he was at the ceremony. I'm like, why are you hiding that? Like,
He was probably just being a white guy.
So whatever you were at, I don't think you're at the right ceremony. Holy.
Not too much.
I love you. I love you. I'm joking.
Back to the video. Push through. All right, let's go. I put the, if you want to know what she's talking about, I put the article in the chat. But
yeah. Crime in certain inner cities are, skyrocketing. Philadelphia's going crazy. Chicago's been a problem. I remember notoriously when a few issues of it caused a lot of social uprise where it was about police brutality. Yeah, and that's one of the things also I do believe the community I come from, that they have a lot of critique about Trump with. They're like, you know what, he might be good with the economy, this and third, and a lot of it, I personally thought, I think the delivery to a community that's sensitive about these issues, I don't know if he appeals to that necessarily. I think so. But they're wondering, okay, what about these issues that seem to predominantly or just overly affect African Americans, whether it is police brutality or otherwise? Will there be any care about those type of things, especially when, again, the reason why we had those, it lasted for a while where I think the world took notice to say, hey, this isn't right. These people of this skin color aren't being treated fairly by the people who are putting.
I think police brutality is terrible, but I don't think that every cop in America does these things. I think you have to deal with the cases when it's real, but I think the solution to some of these things isn't like, okay, we're just going to defund the police and have nothing. Like, I think if you look, some of these very, and it happens in the cities because they happen to be more left, and, we're going to defund the police, and then 3 years later, they're like, we can't understand why crime has skyrocketed.
Yeah.
So
that happened in Baltimore. It was like,
there's a cop that does something bad.
Cops don't respond no more.
And I see it too. I mean, I know a lot of cops in the NYPD, and they're like, hey, man, it's not worth it. I'm like, well, that person's being, like, raped, or, like, I'm like, well, if we get involved and something goes wrong, shit happens, unfortunately, right? Like you can have the best intentions. I'm not sure, I'm not saying that it always is right, but like I will say, I think the vast majority of the cops mean well and they're risking their lives and they're doing these things. It doesn't mean you don't have to deal with it when it goes wrong, but to just sort of have this unilateral approach that all cops are bad and they're the enemy. Man, I don't drive narrative for a while. I don't think that worked out well for these places. You saw the mayor of San Francisco was like, okay, defund the police. We tried that and it's failed miserably. Like we have to get cops back on. But now cops are like, the problem is you create a vicious cycle, right? You made it so hard. So some of the experienced ones that have 20 years under their belt, they're like, I'm out. Because, I just don't want to mishap that something, and I'm sued, I lose my pension, I lose my job, I lose my home, I lose my wife, and my life is over. Those guys leave. Then you have sort of that fear. So you have this void that needs to be filled. So now you have to fill it with all these cops. So now you're filling it with younger people that are not experienced, and a lot of them. So now you're lowering your standards, which makes it even harder, especially in a stressful situation, right? Imagine if you're a traffic cop, it's not that big a deal. You can handle that. You start getting involved in bad stuff in rough places, the less experience, the less time, the lower standard of it literally perpetuates the problem where bad stuff happens, and it's like, well, the cops' fault, and then does that make sense? Yeah, no, so it's just gotten very hard to do that. So there has to be real accountability, obviously, but I don't think you can take a blanket sort of approach and be like, I don't know how many cops there are across the country, but probably millions, and be like, they're all bad, they're all racist. I don't think that's a winning formula. No, I get it. If we're going to be honest, that'll get me in trouble with someone. I agree. As we talk about, I guess law and order and criminal justice and criminals, they try to say your father was a criminal. They want to throw my father in jail for 700 years, and one of the cases actually possibly the death penalty, which is a young and vibrant guy, but 700 years felt like a long time. As a family, like not as a politician or like a public figure, when these things happen, I don't know how you get or how you're getting notified about these things. Like, what's your first thought? The reality at this point, like, I'm just so used to it. You're jaded. I don't like. I know what they tried doing to me. I was probably the number 2 target of like Russia, which was the full government. Is there a real fear that maybe your father goes to jail? No, listen, it has to be because like the reality is just because it's bullshit doesn't mean you don't have to deal with it, right? Like trust me, it can be very real. Like the case in New York that's going on as we speak. You have they're changing the rules in New York to be able to do that. The judge's daughter is a Democrat fundraiser making millions of dollars off of this. There's literally a statute in New York, a law on the books, like you can't have any link to someone who could benefit from the trial. And he's like, I'm ignoring that, doesn't matter. They changed the statute of limitations to be able to go after him because by New York law, it wasn't there. They turned it, what was at best a misdemeanor, into a felony. But if you watch CNN, like because some people might not know, they're trying to say that it's a books and records violation because an accountant, a low-level accountant in the Trump organization, a billion-dollar organization that probably dozens of accountants in the thing. My father's in Washington D.C. as the president of the United States, and someone booked. They say that a Stormy Daniels hush money pay. They booked it as like legal expense. He's in D.C. He had no connection to the business. Okay, he had no nothing. So this was this woman that claimed whatever. Yeah. And she filed a civil suit. She took a settlement, right? Yep. She gets paid. And now the problem isn't that got settled. It's literally bookkeeping. They want to throw him in jail for years because an accountant wrote something on a paper that said, hey, it's legal expense instead of, I don't even know what else it could be. And it's like the equivalent of like me coming here, except I'm partying it up and my assistant marked this trip as all the expenses as work expenses. Basically that. But the problem is, it wasn't like he directed him or to even do it. Okay. This is just someone who's like, I don't know what this is, probably this. Like, let's just write it down. He's in Washington, D.C. It's a couple 100 miles away. No involvement, no conversation. Doesn't matter. This same prosecutor who's doing it declined to prosecute this thing years ago. The same guy, Alvin Bragg. Joe Biden's number 3 guy in the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. quits there, moves into the New York office, and now it's a prosecution. Like, Joe Biden's guy left Washington, D.C., the number 3 guy in the Department of Justice, federal Washington, moves to New York, and all of a sudden it's crime. The prior district attorney in New York declined to do it. The Federal Election Commission declined to prosecute this case. These are not Trump fans. These are people who hate Trump, but they realized it was bullshit. The second, so multiple federal and state agencies don't even look at it for years. Joe Biden's number 3 guy, the same people who are probably making the decision to not prosecute Hunter for the various crimes, and, we're not going to do anything, he can get away with it, moves to New York, and all of a sudden, we're going to try to throw him in jail for years. Like, that's a stretch, man. That's if you're altering the laws of a state to go after one guy, they did it the same thing in the civil suit with the E. Jean Carroll. They literally, for 1 year, just for this one case, for 1 year, they changed all of New York law to open and expand the time frame that you could look back on so that you can go after Trump for something apparently he did 25 years ago when he was also still pretty famous. This is pretty serious weaponization. I mean, this isn't the stuff that America is supposed to be about. If this was going on in third world countries around the world and we were looking at it, we'd say, this is improper. We have to go for regime change. And yet it's happening right now in America. One of the, and he has a couple of cases. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's like 96. I mean, Trump he had a line. He said, pretty gangster. Yeah. He actually said it. He was just like, it's like he said, I now know what it's like to feel black. But he was talking about discrimination. It's like, he feels like he's catching all these charges because they're just discriminating. They're targeting him almost. I obviously have to be really careful with what I say because they can go. But like, I'm not saying our justice system has always been fair. Right? I don't think anyone could make that claim with a straight face. So like, I do feel like, I thought we were through a lot of that stuff. And again, there's obviously always exceptions, but like, this is pretty extreme, right? When the Washington, D.C. case, it's like, well, you have a grand jury in Washington, D.C. for a case that's in Florida. Why would you do that? Well, because Florida is pretty popular. Florida, you probably don't get the jury you want. You may not get the result you want. So they're literally venue shopping to try to find the places where we can go after Trump, where he doesn't have a chance at getting a fair trial, right? The judge throwing out, it's like, this person was, on the day of the election, was cheering that Trump is there and saying, lock him up. That's a perfectly good person on a jury. Like, you think that guy's going to actually be fair? So, if that's the reality of what Trump is, and currently he's a regular United States citizen, even though he's a former president, this is what the rest of us got to deal with all the time. But we don't have as much resources as, Mr. Trump, and we don't have all these other things that are, like, I just read the news that he put up like $180 million in bail, right? Like, the regular person's in jail. So if Trump becomes president, granted, he might not have to deal with these things, or hopefully he'll be past it if he does. But isn't that an indication that the justice system, period, is a little bit broken, and that 100% needs an overhaul? Because if they're doing that to him, what about the regular citizen who has zero chance? But like, literally, if you watch my podcast, like on Rumble, and I talk about it all the time, like, if they can do this to Trump, and if they will do it to Trump, a guy that has the resources, the guy that has the platform, a guy that has the following, the ability to fight back, who won't they do it to? You think it stops with Trump? They get this win? They don't want someone who's a disruptor. They don't want someone who's changing the ways in D.C. They don't want someone, I don't know, we should keep funding the war in Ukraine forever because there's a couple of guys in the military-industrial complex that make a lot of money for us selling missiles. Doesn't matter if we mortgage our children's future, we can't afford to, educate them or take care of them when they get older or sick. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, this guy's going to make a couple extra bucks by selling more missiles for Ukraine for a war that they can't even tell us what does a win look like? We don't even know. Like, they can't tell us. So, they're going after him, but I think that's my point. Like, I'm agreeing with you 100%. Yeah. Like, if they'll do that to this guy, say what you want. You may not like his personality. You may not like mean tweets. I like mean tweets more than World War III, but that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. But like, if they'll do it to him, that's like, I think we're opening up the floodgates to like anyone who says something against the regime, and it's a regime at this point. Like, you're a target. You're going to be politically persecuted. That's all this is. The situation in his case out of Georgia actually strikes really crazy close to home in culture and hip hop. Yeah. The DA, Fonnie Willis out there, she's actually prosecuting a bunch of people that are actually hip hop artists. You know, there's a whole ongoing conversation. Is that if she's fairly targeting these guys because they've actually committed crimes, or maybe because their lyrics are purporting to be violent, you're then arresting these guys and then holding them for 13 years as M3rd. We just watched the whole the hearings about if she should be removed, or because she basically put her boyfriend. She lied to the court. Yeah, her boyfriend lied to the court. A guy that had never tried anything criminally was brought in, paid almost $750,000 to go after 643, I think, to be exact. But like, they then go on lavish vacations together with the money that she's paying her boyfriend, who's trying a case that he's not. Like, he's a civil lawyer. Like so he's going to put on the criminal prosecutor hat. Now it's the DA's office. They have dozens of criminal prosecutors there. They could do that. I mean, this is a racket, right? We don't have any receipts. It's like, but if someone asks for, they think she's a written shitty, I'm like, get out of here. This is a not so humble public servant, right? I mean, you're a humble public servant that has thousands of dollars to throw around, and only like what is going on here? But like, it feels like a caricature. Like if we were making a joke, about these sort of things, like this would be what's going on, and yet that's. I mean, to go after someone for lyrics, like. I don't know, man. The First Amendment's pretty clear about these things, but it doesn't matter because, hey, it's hard to fight back. But that's my point. I think we're at this very dangerous point where if people don't say, like, hey, we got to put an end to this, there's going to be one side where the power comes from, and that notion of free speech, all of these things that, I think we believe in, that's all gone. It doesn't mean anything. Then it's just a soundbite. Yeah.
That's,
Still haven't heard a lot yet. I ain't heard shit that I disagree with him yet. Even a little bit.
Well, what do you agree with?
Huh?
What do you agree with? Like, what song?
I agree with the point that he's making, that if they can change laws just to persecute one person, just to prosecute one person and sentence them by way of changing things that have been in a certain way for a certain amount of time, none of us stand a fucking chance. Like, nobody stands a chance. The people who want to get out and tell the truth to the public, nobody stands a chance. And I think that's the bigger picture that he's saying, is that this government is becoming tyrannical, and they're brainwashing the people to allow them to do it by way of having them hate a motherfucker who's trying to fight against them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's, pretty much. But like, isn't that the whole point of society in the first place? Is to place restrictions where the majority feels should be placed. Obviously, like, if this was actually a democracy, like, in a perfect world. But it's not, so I'm just really not getting I don't get the
ultimately, what the bottom line is that the American citizens have now become targets. Like, basically, they're criminalizing each and every individual who speaks out with truth. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, that's pretty much everybody in his room. You know what I'm saying? So they can create a law to be like, oh, you're not going with the program, we get to lock you up and throw your ass in Guantanamo Bay. You feel me? So it's like, what the fuck? Like, this ain't justice. This is tyrannical. This is even when you look at the justice system, the legal scale is unbalanced. So that means it's justice for some, not for all.
I know one thing. If Trump doesn't win, and I've been telling my friends this, be prepared. There's definitely going to be a civil war. I could put every money in my bank account for that. Because I highly doubt people are going to tolerate another 4 years of Joe Biden and the shit that he's been doing. I highly doubt that.
I hope he wins just so y'all don't have to go to war. I wish you all the best of luck though if it does happen.
You gonna go to war too.
Hell, I'm not.
But I mean, I believe that's also a part of the predictive programming. I mean, and obviously, it seems to be something that they want to manufacture. It's not something that's just naturally going to manifest. I think that's just manufactured.
I have a question, if anybody knows. If Trump were to win this election, does he qualify to run? Like, can he run again after this next term? Like, can he have 2 terms or just 1 term left because he already did 1 term?
So the answer to your question is no. But, because there is a but. But if it's determined when he does get back in office, he does.
No, but no what? No which
if
one?
you will let me finish, I would answer your question. I said the answer to your question is no, and then I said but. The but is because Jesus Christ.
Okay, see, the thing is, she's confused about what you're saying no to. So
you said, can Trump run again after this election? If he wins this election, can he run again for a 3rd term? And the answer to your question was no. Then I said but, and I was given the reason behind the but. The reason behind the but is because the servers and stuff like that got seized in Italy, none of those servers and none of the data from the servers have came to light. So if in fact the election was rigged and it was stolen and the ballots were harvested and all of that shit, and Trump becomes president and unseals that again, that means Biden was literally not the 46th president, in that he was in office for 4 years illegally, and then anything can happen. The window is, is open for him to have a 3rd term. Is what the answer to your question is. It's only been done, I think, once in American history. But again, if Biden literally stole an election and Trump put all of those, he put all of those bills into place before he left office about election rigging and stealing the election, and he proves it was stolen, then the window is open for anything to happen. So the direct answer to your question is no, and then I just explained the but to you.
But here's my question about that, because that is very interesting. I never heard that before. Like, I never heard that angle before. But why would something being done improperly one time in this particular situation, not in other situations, okay? Why would that make it okay for us to say fuck everything in the future? Why can't there just be repercussions for what was done improperly the first time?
Because people are above the law.
So I'm going to look at the exact bill that he signed before he left office. And this is why when niggas talk about him being a time traveler, I low-key believe it, because how the fuck do you put a bill like that in place to literally have everybody jailed and have everything seized if there's election interference? Like, that's the crazy-ass thing to put in right before the election is stolen. So I'm going to look for it, and I'm going to drop it in the chat. And that's something y'all all should read, because if the nigga does become president and prove that shit, then, yeah, shit's going to get very fucking weird.
Well, that's pretty interesting. That's interesting, the time traveler part. But also, I don't think he would have to be a time traveler to suspect that people would interfere with this
let me add the reason why he's saying that he's a time traveler. Because there is a book, I believe, that was published very, very, very long time ago, like 1800s, maybe early 19 something, where it says Donald Trump, the last president, or some weird shit like that. You can actually Google it.
Barron Trump. It's about his son.
Oh yeah, or something like that. Yeah, it's something. Yeah,
that's when you get the Tesla shit and his great uncle, the one being a raid Tesla lab and finding technology and all of that shit. Like, this is a deep rabbit hole. And if you look at all of the shit that Trump signed literally before the election, you just ask yourself, like, yo, why was he thinking like this? What the fuck could he have possibly known months before this election for him to sign all of these laws and bills into place? And it's just weird. So I'm not saying that.
If Biden is guilty of that shit, why wouldn't he undo those bills that Trump signed? Because he has the power to undo them, right?
Well, that's a good question, too.
That is a good question. I don't have the answer to that. I don't know if, the question would be, why can't Trump undo everything Obama put in office? Like, you could make amendments and you could sign new bills into legislation, but I don't think that you could just undo what the previous president did. So maybe it's a way that he did it to where it just can't be amended and it can't be undone. Otherwise, the president that would be coming into power would literally say, fuck the last guy, we're doing shit my way, and would reverse everything that was signed before then. So I think that might be.
I agree. I'll put the link in the chat for you, Bree, if you want to read it.
Okay, because Biden did it when Biden came into office. He reversed a couple bills that Trump put into play. So I think you can, as sitting president, reverse a bill that the previous president put into play.
I mean, that is disturbing, though, that there's a book called The Last President and it's being tied to Trump. It's a little disturbing. I'll check it out. I mean, I've heard of this, the Barron thing and the time traveler thing. I haven't heard that about, like, him putting something, like, into place that if there was interference with the election, that he'd be able to have 2 more terms or whatever it is. That's just interesting.
You ever seen that commercial he did, like, where he was, like, showing off, like, being the president forever?
Oh, no, it's a little creepy.
Yeah, it was, like, showing him, like, 2024, 2025, and it kept going on and on and on.
It's giving dictatorship, but okay.
Could it be that he just manifesting his destiny because he understands the power of scripture?
That is a possibility. It's all a possibility.
I don't fully disagree with dictatorships. Like I don't fully disagree. It's kind of like if a person is doing a good job at what they do, and everybody's benefiting from it, and there are rules in play to keep the society structured. To have it in the form of a dictatorship, to where the dictator's doing what's right for the people, I don't see nothing wrong with that. But to have a person come in, do what's right for the people, then bring another motherfucker in right behind them and give him 4 years, and then let him come in and change it all is crazy to me.
The first link is in the chat. Click it before the chat go up too much. So I'm about to drop the other link for you.
Is that the 1900 and the last president?
I already put it in the chat.
No, the one I dropped was about the sanctions and the event of interference and all of that. You can just read through that.
I got a question for the room. Like, you guys don't find it weird that, I don't know, because when I go on the web, I'm always looking at correlations between United States and other outside countries. I personally feel like these next 6 years are going to be crucial because, they keep pointing at the 2030 agenda. And even New York has a lot of plans for 2030. And that's the thing that kind of like, I've been kind of thinking, because I'm like, shit, it looks like Trump is going to win, but is he going to win, though? Because I feel like, they're going to do some fuck shit.
Do you know, I feel like do you know what the 2030 World Cup going to be, Roy?
Nah.
In Atlanta?
Nah, it's going to be...
Wow.
No, hold on a second. It's going to be, I call it the Moorish World Cup. It's going to be between, because the one in 2026 is going to be here, then it's going to go to Portugal, Spain, and Morocco, and three South American countries.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's like intercontinental.
So Morocco is in Africa.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. It's gonna first. It's gonna be the first. It's gonna be in Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. That's where the main.
That's where all the Moors was at. God damn.
That's why I call it the Moorish World Cup. But then it's gonna start off in Paraguay, Uruguay, and I think it's Argentina. Those three countries is where it's gonna begin at, but it's gonna end in Portugal, Spain, and Morocco. And it's part of this whole international thing.
Oh dang, that's really cool. That's actually super, super cool. Because I think of the I thought of, but wait, there's more. But then also the number 3. Huh?
No, that was a little joke. Yes, sir.
No, for sure, absolutely. But aside from that, the number 3 is 3 countries. And I think of like the plot twist of Jesus dying and then resurrecting. It's cool. I think this is a cool phase in history, y'all.
In 2026, it's going to be the 3 nations that, like George Bush put in, but no one believes it. The the North American Union, but there's kind of no proof about the North American Union.
Canada, Mexico,
and yeah, so the people really come. So it's like, if you kind of look at it in this weird way, like the border is just it's kind of like a joke. So the cartels is really, it's like they're paying each other in like human trafficking. This is all allegedly. So it's like if they're all working with each other, because people are coming through the border through Canada too, but no one really talks about Canada as much as they do searches. You can see how many people come from Canada also. Canada, the border between the United, like you gotta think about it. The border between the United States and Canada is the world's longest border without any. Hold on. Right. It's the world's largest border without any protection. There's no one. Yeah, it's like over 5,000 miles of border that is literally paved out perfectly. The border between the United States. So think about that.
Some bullshit.
Think about that.
Well, Chop. Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, because I was gonna go back to Chop, so you can go ahead.
But no, it's like it's being that it seems like the Morris is back in style because you can feel that that would fit in with the agenda of what Trump was saying about giving the power back to the people. Because he keeps acknowledging the melanated individuals being native to this land. And even I spoke on the quote unquote pretenders not actually being the real. And also there's science to prove that Africans were in America way before, what we were taught. That's just an insert.
Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Yo, this is Zen Mods. Can I go?
Yeah, dude.
So, if you look at Alex Soros' Instagram, he's George Soros' son. They run Dominion Voting Systems, which has contracts with every major election commission in the United States. You put your vote into the Dominion voting system, and then it goes to Germany, supposedly to some database, and then they inform the election commission of the actual votes. And then when the lawsuits start flying after the election results, and then they go to the mail-in ballots, and then you got weeks and weeks of all this bullshit, and oh my God, another 10,000 ballots just showed up. Oh my God, 15,000 ballots we discovered in a storage room. Shit like that. Like it starts getting dirty and crazy, and nobody knows what's what. So that's how these elections are going to go down, because it does come down to lawsuits, and it comes down to judges. The whole system is fixed, and if you think America is ever going to be liberated, you're whack. This country is 100% completely controlled and manipulated by billionaires. And if you listen to Rudy Giuliani on his Instagram Live, this guy brought down the fucking mafia, and supposedly he's a 9/11 insider, but to me, he looks like an idiot, and he's selling fucking vitamin bottles on his Instagram Live talking like a crazy person. The Republicans don't stand a chance. The Democrats are going to win. The system is fixed, and Genocide Joe is going to probably boom the fucking world. If Hillary Clinton somehow rises to power, you guarantee war is even going to get is going to get worse. So it seems to be an Irishman in charge of this country, whether it's Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, or Barack Hussein Obama, and it's one giant CIA family, and you ain't in it. And you don't work for BlackRock, and you don't work for In-Q-Tel, the venture capital arm. Fuck, you're talking on an app which is invested by the government. You're all being government surveilled right now, and that's a fact. You see any advertisements in this room? I don't see any ads. That means this ain't a fucking business. That means Joe and Paul, the faggots that run this app, they work for the government, and they got their money from the government, whether it's the Chinese or the United States. You're all being surveilled. Your voice is being stored.
The irony of your name, my friend.
Anyways,
We're all gonna die.
yeah, my point is I'm trying to get it out my system. All we can do is accurately describe the situation. That's all I hope to have tried to done. That's it. Just try to be accurate.
Next time when you do this, get really, really loud.
Start
Go ahead,
screaming,
join the
yo.
room, Zen.
Run outside, nigga. Go.
Join the house. Yeah, or the house. Yeah. Thank you.
Alrighty, so if Chop is still here, I don't know if he's still here. Okay, well, let's get to the cut.
Yeah. On his way out of office first time, and I guess this is why hip hop is not. This is a little bit bittersweet
sweet relationship with Trump. You know, and when I met your father at UFC, I said this was the first thing I said. I said, hey, man, I'm a guy who does media and hip hop. I want to tell you thank you for what you've done. I know you shoot apart for Kodak, for Lil Wayne, and you got A$AP Rocky out of jail. And the first thing he says to me, he says, I did that. He shook my hand. And, you know, I don't know if that's even a thing where you guys, like, even acknowledge, like, some of these people who affected in pop culture, whether it be a partner or anything else. Yeah. Well, no, listen, I think you just understand, again, like, in a weird sort of indirect way, I think it's sort of always kind of part of that group, right? I mean, you know, Russell Simmons used to hang out at Mar-a-Lago with us all the time. You know what I mean? Like, there was always a sort of connection. And, you know, things may have changed a little bit, but like, Diddy, I met Diddy with Diddy a few times. Have you had a party with Diddy? I have not had a party with Diddy, so I will go on the record and say I have not had a party with Diddy. By the way, that whole thing's crazy. We should talk about that. But like, you know, but I think there was always sort of an understanding, and I think, you know, you look at some of those cases, and if someone did something, it's one thing, but when it's like clearly bullshit, and they're just going after someone because it's clickbait or it's this, you know, my father's more than happy to step in and be like, okay, that's just nonsense, you know. Hey, one of the differences I noticed, like, you know, personally, and this is only for me, I'm not speaking for anyone else, you know, I like the America First approach, you know, and also I do like appearing strong. I remember when it came to the conversation of, okay, A$AP Rocky was caught up and they had him in some other country, and Trump was like, let's get him out now. You know what I mean? Then we get Brittany Griner, who's overseas, and it's like, yo, she's going to do 15 years, guys. Like, you'll see her. And then basically, that was kind of a situation. I don't think we looked that strong. And, but that was Biden. Yeah, right? So he just sat on that for years. You know, again, now, they're also, they can be very different. I think 15 years was ridiculous, right? But, like, Russia's not the U.S. Like, you may not be able to bring drugs into Russia and, like, you know, not face consequences. I think we do have a component of us which is like, well, we can get away with it in America, so it doesn't matter. It's like, I don't know. Like, again, 15 years being insane. But, like, you know, Biden sat on that for what? Like, 18 months or something like that? It was like, you know, they seem proactive. Well, but then we also gave, what was it? The Merchant of Death. Yeah, exchange, right? Like, this is a guy that's probably killing American soldiers across, you know, the world at this point. I'm sure he's back at it. I mean, that's what they do. So, you know, there also has to be some balance, right? When Trump was freeing hostages, he did it with strength, and there was no trade. Yeah. It's like, hey, we're going to give you a bunch of really bad guys in exchange for this. Joe Biden is like, we'll get one guy back, and it's like, well, what's the rate? Oh, we gave Iran $6 billion. This was what, 6 months ago? Like, I'm like, oh wait, I thought we were going like tit for tat. It's like, no, we're going tit for tat plus $6 billion. I'm like, whoa, this is no longer a good trade. Now you see what's going on with Iran, and you're thinking, maybe we shouldn't have done that. So you need, I think what was helpful for Trump from a foreign policy standpoint, like, he was tough, he was unpredictable. Like, those bad guys around the world, and there's a lot of them, like, you know, that guy, he's crazy enough to do it. They look at Joe Biden, they're like, he's a weakling. Like, we're going to take advantage of this guy no matter what. That's the nature of predation, right? I like that one story where he's like, I sent the picture of this guy's house to him. Yeah, that was with the Taliban. And they had a meeting, and the president, how dare you have a meeting with the Taliban? I don't know, we've been at war for 20 years, maybe we should try to solve this thing. Yeah. And he had the leader, I think it was at Camp David, he had the leader of the Taliban, he just pulls out a folder, like, you have a really nice house here, satellite image of the guy's house. He goes, why are you showing me a picture of my house? He goes, something happens to another American troop, you're going to find out the hard way. That's how like my president. And guess what? I'm sorry. That's how like my president would be. Yeah, and like, I'm sorry. So that's a very real story. I'm not as good a story. My father's a good storyteller, but he tells it. It's sort of like, because Abdullah, it's going to be a long. And guess what? Not one more American death in like it was like 18 months. Yeah. You know, like, so they're like, oh, you're appeasing the Taliban. I'm like, no, man, you're just dealing with the real world. Like, the real world isn't nice. The real world isn't friendly. The real world doesn't, you know. You watch I always, like, it was so shocking to me with the whole Afghan withdrawal and the 13 guys that were killed, you know, under Joe Biden and you know, our Secretary of State, you know, we were told, you know, the adults are back in charge now. Like, he gets up on a world stage in front of Congress. I'm shocked and dismayed, and I quote, that the Taliban did not install a more diverse and inclusive government. I'm like, the fuck is he talking? Like, no, like, they're not serious people. Like, what, there's going to be a trans coalition in the Taliban? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, like, these are people that they threw gays off
a sudden, like, they're like, what do the gays think? We're gonna weigh this, like, we're gonna think, like, what do they think? How about women? They put in, like, sexual slavery, like, we're gonna listen to them. It's like, I mean, come on, man. Yeah. It's not that hard. Yeah, it's not that hard. You're not they're imbeciles because their narrative is just so screwed up. It doesn't work for the real world. Yeah. It works sort of for TV where, they can tell you everything you want and, like, without, but, like, you have to. In theory, it's just not practical. Yeah. But the photo, the aerial photo of the guy's house, that was just so gangster. I was like, that's a cool story when I heard it. No, that's crazy. Yeah. But it worked. Good. I'm glad it did. Hey, you showed me around Mar-a-Lago yesterday, and let's have a dinner there. I was like, wow, this is the same place I watched on TV. That the fans, I remember when it happened. They're like, hey, they're at his crib. They're issuing the search warrant. Yeah. And how did that go down? I don't know if you were there or not, but I was out with the country. I was really in the middle of nowhere. I got the call like, hey, they're raiding Mar-a-Lago, and I was like, for what? Like, it's like, and then it was like, well, they're raiding Mar-a-Lago with the hostage rescue team. Like, what? That's like the Navy SEALs of federal law enforcement, right? Like, those are guys those are the guys they send on, like, to take out terrorists who hijack planes. I'm like, well, why are they executing a search warrant? Like, this is pretty. It's not like my dad was there with a gun. But they did the same thing, right? On January 6th, like, Donald Trump tried taking over the beast. The presidential vehicle. He was going to drive downtown and they have people before Congress be like, this happened, and then they won't call the people who were in the car, right? They don't ask them what actually happened, and so they have this hearsay from these people, and then, like, what was it, like 4 weeks ago, they finally had, asked the people in the car,
So you live in a world of controlled misinformation, disinformation, neurolinguistic implants, all hoping to sway your vote so you continue to vote Democrat. If Black America could only organize and liberate America from the billionaire oligarchy, white Democrat liars, and free us from the hypocrisy, we could get one step closer to a better world.
They said neural implants. Which one of y'all got them?
What is that, neural implants?
It's theoretical right now.
It's just words. It's just words. That's all it is. But it's about being able to implant it regularly, surreptitiously. It's about it's gaslighting is the big example that I could prove to you. Is that I could gaslight you right now, and that's a neurolinguistic implant in the sense that you create an emotional response to the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Y'all gonna put them on the cheeks?
I don't even know what that meant either.
MLP is something that people like to use as a buzzword. Sorry. It's the idea that you can craft speech to get people, persuade people, direct people to a certain space, idea, action. People that speak on it, though, like, just be speaking on it as far as implementation.
No, that's not true. I can prove to you that
I understand exactly what he said. Like,
I understand what he said, but I'm saying as far as, like, deployment, though, like, it's cool to speak about it, but some people will be saying it, like, as he said, like, the words that are coming out of my mouth, like, I'm not really swayed by them. I hear what you're saying. I can intake that information and digest it, but as far as being...
No, I don't think he was talking about him. He was talking about what the media does. This is their ploy. This is how they play.
But he was saying he could prove it to you, like, with the words he was saying.
Yeah, well, let him prove it. Let's see if he can prove it.
Yeah, let's prove it. I gotta say, is the N word.
Yeah.
Stephen Colbert is coming to Chicago for the Democratic National Committee to do a gala and host an event at the Chicago Theater. It's going to be an amazing August. So we're trying to. I'd like to organize citizen arrests. That's just me, but it's not going to go anywhere. Anyways, we were in that incredible Trump room with a bunch of black voters. Somehow I clicked away and I lost the room. Unless that's what it is. Let's get to it. My phone is like. Let's just close it.
But we didn't stream it, and I guess
Wait.
So now Meezy came back and made a PSA and said, if you want to op up lay with Vanna, then let's do it.
No, she's not saying no. She's on the stage with you and trying to bring over the other side. So she's up in it.
Wait, what, Meezy?
No, I said the same way she call herself, she don't play about Vanna. It's up for anybody for Vanna. It's up for anybody when it comes to Medusa with me. So what's up? Somebody gonna ask her what we doing. Cause I can get this.
Why the fuck is she being stupid as fuck? They don't give a fuck about you, stupid bitch. Are you not understanding I'm the only one over here holding niggas back?
New, you know what I mean? Like,
bro, I didn't know that.
Man,
none of us knew that.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. I already knew that, and I think it was a part of an article at one point. Like, I've heard that before, but what I'm saying is, as far as the point of saying that he's a weak leader or he's cognitive, he's not even functioning at most of the time that he's speaking. So a lot of this, like, you know what I mean? It's like beating a dead horse. So ultimately what I'm saying is a lot of his talking points of expressions of his disdain for, one particular individual. It's not really informative as far as things that we don't know. It's more of expression.
Hey, this is Zen. Sorry, I clicked out of the room by accident.
That's a personal perspective. I don't see it that way, but it's a personal perspective.
I just wanted to prove to you that all communication is hypnosis.
That's true.
Explain that.
Yeah, so there's some ways. There's some ways to look at it, and
play the clip because they're about to get restless. Play the clip. These dogs is acting wild.
I definitely want to hear that. Actually,
there's a document. It's called the Xin Ming. It's from ancient China. It's 2,500 years old. It says that the more you think, the more you speak, from the further from the truth you get. Stop thinking and end your problems. So words, in a way, kind of auto-generate a future or a reality. If you were to live in a silent bubble and not do incoming communication, you wouldn't have automated thought responses. My point is, in enlightenment, automated emotional response syndrome, or the EQ to the IQ, you can try to hack your mind. And in that way, you can change the world. I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is black people in America are technically Bob Marley. So if they were
but what about the rest of the people in America? Or it only apply to black people?
No, this is
Why do you specifically?
We don't even know what he about to say about niggas. Can y'all wait? Fuck.
No, my point is, I assume this is a black room. I mean, I use Clown House a lot, and I assume this is like, mostly black people in this room from America. I mean, am I wrong?
You call it clown.
You're 100% correct.
But you think that we love Clown House, and he assumes. So look, he calls this Clown House, and he calls everyone in here black. Okay.
Can you get the stereo off?
I'm trying to look up Xing Xing Ling, and I can't find it.
Y'all are helping him prove his point. Wait, y'all are helping him prove his point.
He ain't proved his point yet. Xing Ling, because I cut him off.
Xing Ling, man.
Bro, go on. Continue, please, man.
I mean, the insult was there. I mean, and y'all want to cater to his talking points. Go ahead.
Not here anymore.
No, I say clown house all the time, but you guys did point out that you are proving my point by not being able to listen. You're making my point that all communication is hypnosis. Your ears are pathways to your temple, which is your central nervous system. If you are listening, you are in a state of animated suspension, which is the definition of hypnosis. The longer I speak, the longer you will be hypnotized. That's a fact.
Sometimes.
I have
Sometimes, nigga, like, yo, usually hypnosis. That's not every time. No, bro, y'all are making this man's point, bro. Hold on, no, we're not, because yes, you are about that. No, hypnosis is when you're under the suggestion of whomever is speaking. If you listen, bro, if somebody's in here trying to hypnotize you, right, the rest of these niggas is asleep, and I